Welcome to Exposed and Broken YouTube channel. We uncover the secrets of love, betrayal, and the choices that change everything.
Please like and subscribe. Oh my God, Libby. The door handle twists. Sophia's back presses against the wood, her breath caught in her throat. She grips her phone, fingers trembling as she tries to call someone, anyone. From the other side, Ethan's voice seeps through. Low. Calm. Too calm. You're overthinking this, Sophia. Her heartbeat slams against her ribs. Let me in. A chill crawls up her spine. Her thumb hovers over the call button, but who does she call? Then the words slip out. A name she hasn't spoken in so long. Oh my God, Libby. Her mind races backward, a black hole of memories swallowing her whole. 3 months earlier. The beginning. 3 months ago. Sophia had chosen this apartment for its silence. London was a roaring beast outside. Sirens wailing, buses screeching, people always in a rush. But inside her small flat, it was quiet. Safe. Then she met Ethan. Tall, sharp-jawed, with a presence that commanded attention. He wasn't just attractive, he was magnetic, the kind of man who moved through the world like it owed him something. The first time she saw him, he was smoking on the balcony, watching her with a smirk. New here? He had asked. Sophia had nodded, holding her ground, even as his gaze lingered too long. I live next door, he said, exhaling a slow ribbon of smoke. Welcome to the building. A pause. What's your name? Sophia. Sophia. He rolled the name on his tongue like he was tasting it. Nice to meet you. It should have ended there. A normal introduction. But with Ethan, nothing was normal. The dangerous game begins. Days passed, and their encounters multiplied. In the hallway, Ethan would brush past her, just close enough that she could feel his warmth. In the elevator, his eyes on her, watching, waiting. At night, his shadow on his balcony, standing just a little too close. He was always there, always watching. And yet, she played along. Something about him unnerved her, and yet, she found herself flirting back. The way he looked at her sent a strange thrill through her veins, a sensation she didn't understand. Until the night, he said something that made her stomach drop. You remind me of someone. Sophia frowned. Oh. Ethan tilted his head. Libby. Her breath hitched. How the hell does he know that name? The first shiver of fear. Sophia tried to laugh it off, but something in her chest tightened. Libby. A name she had buried. A name that carried too much history. Ethan watched her reaction, and for the first time, she saw it, a flicker of something dark behind his smile. He knows something. And for the first time since moving in, she felt afraid. The dangerous game. The line between teasing and obsession. Sophia couldn't shake the way Ethan had said her name that night, Libby. It echoed in her mind, twisting through memories she had tried so hard to leave behind. How could he know? Had she ever mentioned her? Was it just a coincidence? She told herself it didn't matter. She wouldn't let it matter. Yet, the next time they crossed paths, the air between them felt different. Tighter. Charged. They met in the hallway, a narrow space, no way to avoid him. He leaned against his doorframe, arms crossed, looking at her like he already knew the answer to a question he hadn't asked. You're running from something, Ethan said, voice smooth, amused. Sophia swallowed. I don't know what you mean. His eyes flicked over her, too knowing, too sharp. Sure you do. She tried to walk past him, but he moved slightly, just enough that their arms brushed. Heat sparked along her skin, but instead of excitement, it left behind a strange unease. It wasn't attraction. It was a warning. The first signs of control. It started subtly. A knock at her door late at night, but when she opened it, no one was there. Her favorite coffee order waiting outside her apartment, even though she had never told him what she drank. A text from an unknown number. Did you dream of me last night? Sophia blocked the number, but the messages didn't stop. They became more personal, more intimate. You looked beautiful today in that red dress. I wonder what you taste like. She locked her doors. She told herself she was imagining things, that this was some game she had unknowingly started. But Ethan wasn't playing. The truth about Libby. One night, she woke to a sound. A soft, deliberate tap. She sat up in bed, heart hammering. It was coming from her window. Slowly, she approached, barely breathing. When she pulled back the curtain, Ethan was standing on his balcony, watching her. The streetlight cast shadows across his face, but his eyes gleamed with something unreadable. "Who told you about Libby?" she demanded, gripping the edge of the window. A slow smirk curled his lips. "You did." Her blood ran cold. No, she hadn't. Not once. She slammed the curtain shut. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. She knew then. This wasn't teasing anymore. This was something else entirely. Ethan wasn't just interested in her. He wanted to own her. Please like and subscribe. The Breaking Point. Help me buy a house. A line crossed. The next morning, Sophia found her apartment door unlocked. She was certain she had locked it the night before, twice. Stepping inside, her stomach turned. Nothing was stolen, but something felt off. The air was wrong, like someone had been there. Then she saw it. A single red rose on her pillow. She backed away, her breath shallow. He had been here. Her phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. "I wanted to see how you sleep. Beautiful. Peaceful. Almost mine." Panic clawed at her throat. She called the building security, but the cameras in the hallway had mysteriously stopped working for 2 hours. No proof. No evidence. Just her fear. The obsession unmasked. Sophia needed answers. She needed to know what she was dealing with. She searched Ethan's name online. Nothing. No social media. No history. Just an empty void where a person should be. Then she did something desperate. She picked his lock. Inside, his apartment was obsessively neat, almost sterile, except for one room. A room filled with photos. Of her. Snapshots of her walking to work, sitting in her favorite cafe, even inside her own home. The angles were all too familiar. She looked up. A vent in the ceiling. She staggered backward, horror sinking in. He had been watching her through the vents. That's when she heard the door open behind her. The fight for freedom. Ethan stood in the doorway, his face unreadable, but his eyes burned with something dangerous. "I knew you'd come," he murmured. "You're so predictable, Sophia." Her pulse roared in her ears. "Stay away from me." He stepped forward. "But you don't really want that, do you? You like this. You like me." She bolted, but he was faster, grabbing her wrist. "I know who you really are," he whispered. "And you don't even know yourself." But something snapped inside her. With all her strength, she drove her knee into his stomach and tore away. She didn't look back. She just ran. That night, she packed whatever she could carry and left. A new city, a new life, a chance to be free. As the taxi pulled away, she checked her phone one last time. A final message blinked on her screen. "You can run, but you'll always be mine." Rebirth. Sophia didn't stop running until she was miles away from London, in a city where Ethan couldn't reach her. Or so she told herself. For weeks, she barely slept. Every knock at the door, every shadow down the street, it could be him. But he never came. Slowly, the fear turned into something else. Resolve. She had let herself be trapped by fear before, first by the world's expectations, then by Ethan's obsession. No more. Discovering strength. One day, she walked past a self-defense studio and stopped. She thought about the way her body had frozen when Ethan grabbed her, how it had taken pure panic to break free. She never wanted to feel that powerless again. She signed up. Kick by kick, punch by punch, she rebuilt herself. Not just her body, but her mind. She remembered Libby, the woman who had once held her heart, the part of herself she had buried under fear. Sophia realized she had been running from more than Ethan. She had been running from herself. She wasn't anymore. Facing the past. Months later, a letter arrived. No return address, but she knew. It was from him. Her hands trembled, but she didn't hesitate. She burned it. Ethan had no power over her anymore. That night, she stood by the window of her new apartment, feeling the wind on her skin, the city humming below. She was finally free. And this time, she knew, no one would ever take that from her again. Thank you for watching Exposed and Broken. Please hit like and subscribe. I have been broken by infidelity. Please support me buying a house by watching Exposed and Broken. See you soon.